So we're going to move on to the E major bar chord shape. If you haven't done the E minor one, the previous lesson on bar chords, I'll put a link to that in the description. I strongly suggest you tackle that one first before trying this one. Once again, E major bar chord shape. Tiny bit of theory, why is it called an E major bar chord shape? Same as before, because we're using an E major chord shape. In the last one we used an E minor chord shape. In this one we're going to use the E major chord shape. Just thought it worth mentioning really quickly, because I don't like to be the guy that just says, oh, put your fingers here and just trust me, that's how it works. I'd rather try and share with you that little extra bit of information so that you know what you're playing and why it is what you're playing, rather than just putting your fingers where the dots are. So start off with an E major chord. Now your normal fingering for an E major chord would be like that in any chord book. So what we've got an open E string, we've got my middle fingers playing 2nd fret on my A string, I've got my ring fingers playing 2nd fret on my D string, I've got my index finger playing 1st fret on my G string, and then I've got 2 open strings. That's your E major chord from your chord book you should be familiar with. Again, just like before, if you're not familiar with that chord, learn that chord first before continuing with this lesson, otherwise it won't make too much sense to you. Just like before with the E minor one, we're going to change the fingering so that we can accommodate the bar as part of the chord, because at the moment my index finger is busy playing a note, so it can't play a bar, so that's not going to work out. So just like before in the previous lesson, I'm going to change my fingers round and play the same chord using different fingers, but it's going to sound the same. That's your standard fingering for it. So rather than doing that, I'm going to play it the same as the E minor chord. I'm going to use open E, just like before, my ring finger to play 2nd fret on the A string, my little finger's playing 2nd fret on the D string, and my middle finger now is going to play 1st fret on the G string, and then I've got 2 open strings, and that's my E major chord. That's your standard fingering. This is your bar chord fingering. As I've said before, it sounds the same. The guitar doesn't know which fingers you're using, so it doesn't matter in terms of the sound. It's going to sound the same, but we need to change this fingering before we can do the bar. And just like before, that's an E major chord. If we wanted to move up 1 semitone, 1 fret, to make a F major chord, then all I'm going to do is shift everything up. So as well as my fretted notes moving up a fret, I need to move my open strings up a fret. So I'll show it like before. If I was using a capo, I could use my normal fingering and play an F major chord, because I've moved everything. I'm not just moving my fingered notes up, I've moved my open notes up by using the capo. But we're not using the capo. The idea of bar chords is to not need the capo. So I'm going to use my bar chord fingering that I've just explained, and then move my fingers up a fret and use my bar to be the capo that I would have used. So now I've got my F major chord just by moving that shape up and putting the bar on. Keep that shape exactly as it is, move it in up another fret, F sharp major, another fret, G major, G sharp major, A major, and again I can continue right up the neck and play all 12 keys of the major chord just by using that one shape. So again, to reiterate the benefit of doing this in terms of these bar chords that I've been showing you now, I've shown you 2 bar chord shapes, E minor bar chord shape and E major bar chord shape. So you've learnt 2 shapes and you can play 24 chords using those 2 shapes. So now you can play every basic major and minor chord just using 2 chord shapes. So as well as the root chords that you already probably can play quite a few of, most people can at this stage, you can also play them using bar chords. There's also, I'll just quickly add, because this is a simple video, if you're okay with the last one, this one shouldn't be too difficult for you. One of the other reasons for using bar chords is the fact that playing the same chord in different positions on the guitar can actually sound differently depending on what you want the chord to sound like. Root A minor, bar A minor. Sometimes the higher you play up the neck, the notes sound a little bit rounder and softer, and when you're playing the root position they sound a little bit more sharp, not sharp musically, but more aggressive and more in your face. So that's one of the reasons why you might choose to play the chords in different positions, even if you know both ways of doing it. Just a little bit of background there on why you might want to learn the chord more than once. So hopefully it's relevant to you. It's not trying to, I'm not saying root chords are rubbish. Every chord's got its place, so it depends on the song, it depends on the feel you're trying to get, but bar chords are super important, and the E and E minor ones that we've just done are 2 of the more simple ones we can do. My next video is going to be using the A minor bar chord shape, and that one's going to be really easy, and you'll find out why when you see the video. Enjoy.